How do you find balance in your life? A balanced life today seems inaccessible. Too many activities, too many choices, too many decisions, too many commitments, too many expectations, too many people, too much hurry, too much change. Sometimes the world around us puts these on us, but other times we do that to ourselves. Somehow we think, if I just work harder, it will all be better. In fact, it just gets more overwhelming. How do you do it? How do you stay balanced? Have you figured out how to be a committed friend, a dedicated and faithful and productive worker, active in the community, faithful in church, responsible to your family? For me, my lack of balance was a little more nagging. I was tired of a few things that were constantly crying out for my attention. Yes, there was the to-do list, but ultimately I'm in charge of that. I mean, how many things I put on it each day. Recently, through the summer, I read someone explain that effective people only put 3 things on their task list every day. Only 3. So I tried it. I started with a fresh list, and I carefully chose 3 important things for my list the next day. And day 1 came and went. The problem is that on the morning of day 2, I now had 5 things on my list. And then by day 3, I added 3 more, and now there were 7. I was accomplishing a couple of things, and I realized that my to-do list wasn't the problem. Do you know what was the problem? The laundry room. Really. I kept walking past it, and it was a nagging reality screaming out at me every time. You see, several weeks ago, I unpacked the new wall cabinets that were going to go up, and Joanne selected the color of paint. And there was a paint can, and there outside the door of the laundry room were these cabinets. So every time I walked past them into my home office, they whispered, "Hey, you lazy bum. If you put us up, we could do our job and your wife would be so much happier." And even without saying a word, I shouted back at them, "You think you are so important? You have no idea how much I get done every day. I'm doing God-sized things. Just leave me alone." Come on. Tell me, at some time in your life, haven't you had a internal conversation like that with inanimate objects? All right, so then a week ago, I ripped the wire shelves off the wall and I patched the holes, and then I was committed because now all the detergent and everything else that was up on those shelves was now on the floor of the bathroom in the way. I took a day off of work and I dove in. And last night, I put my tool bag away. And did that feel good? No more walking past it. No more cabinets heckling me. Now I keep peeking in, and I even turn on the lights so I can see them hanging there. And you know what they're saying now? "Mark, do you see how organized and tidy your life is now? What took you so long?" I noticed I have more energy for my to-do list because I didn't feel like a lazy man living in a cluttered home anymore. And you know what? Now I'm cleaning up around the house and I'm getting other projects accomplished with a few volunteer organizations that I work with. Could it be that completing one big project provided balance in other areas? A common problem that we face is imbalance. For most people, the problem is that we have a tendency to work on our public lives and not our private lives. We want people to see the outside and assume the inside is good. When your personal life is not balanced, you'll experience problems. When your personal life is not balanced, you will experience frustration. Most of us are very busy and we're juggling many things at the same time. You start to work on one area of your life and then you switch to another area of life. You stay frustrated because about the time you get the one thing in balance, the other things start to fail. When your personal life is not balanced, you will experience fatigue. When your life is out of balance, it's exhausting. You're constantly busy, you're stressed out. If you're not careful, you'll spend more time worrying than sleeping, and you will be sick and tired. Jesus provided direction to handle frustration and fatigue. It's found in Matthew chapter 6. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Worries, fears, all that we have to get accomplished, all those who are depending on us, so much to do, so little time. Jesus invites you to take your eyes off the world and to simply seek his kingdom. Listen to the whole section from Matthew chapter 6 in the Message, that version of the Bible. If God gives such attention to the appearance of wildflowers, most of which are never even seen, don't you think he'll attend to you, take pride in you, do his best for you? What I'm trying to do here is to get you to relax, to not be so preoccupied with getting so that you can respond to God's giving. People who don't know God and the way he works fuss over these things. But you know both God and how he works. Steep your life in God reality, God initiative, God provisions. Don't worry about missing out. You'll find all your everyday human concerns will be met.
I've heard it. You've heard it. It's time for a new beginning. Time to start a fresh page or paint a new picture with our life. Sounds great in theory, but it can seem impossible. Life is messy. The lines have gotten blurred. Maybe we just don't know where to start. We look at the canvas of our lives and see mistake after mistake after mistake. It's overwhelming. When I look at my life with these messy lines and scribbles, it makes me think, is this as good as it gets? There's no eraser that can make this life make sense. But what if? What if there was someone that could make sense of our mess? They could take all our scribbles, all our mistakes, all our missed opportunities, and make them into a masterpiece. And then I remember, there is Jesus. He gives us a new life. Every day is new. Every day is a blank canvas full of possibility and promise. He takes our canvases, our lives that have been filled up with shortcomings, secrets, tragedies, and embarrassments, and He helps them make sense. When I look at the canvas of my life and I see nothing but disorder and chaos, I have to remember this. God is not a God of disorder. He's a God of peace. And you know what? He wants to take my hand and bring peace to the canvas of my life. So as we seek to make our mark, let us give God all our scribbles, all our mistakes, all our hurts, and trust that He will turn our messy lives into a masterpiece. His masterpiece.
In Matthew chapter 6, verse 34, here's when Jesus' message for you and me really gets good. Give your entire attention to what God is doing right now, and don't get worked up about what may or may not happen tomorrow. God will help you deal with whatever hard things come up when the time comes. That is balance. This is what Jesus wants for you. And He's reaching out His hand to you to help you find balance in your life. So let's go back to the laundry room. Last night, I heard the washing machine spinning. When it spins, I know the clothes are clean. The job's done. All the dirty water's being spun out. A clean rinse is on the way. And when it tries to spin and the load is imbalanced, it can't do what it was supposed to do. It shakes, it bangs, and whatever the load is in the machine, it stays wet. And the wash cycle is incomplete just because it's imbalanced. Our lives can do the same thing. When we're unbalanced, we stay frustrated and fatigued. It's not a good place to be. Jesus rescues you from that condition. He brings peace to your life. Balance has always been necessary and will always be necessary. So where do you find balance? Balance is found in God. God's central to everything. We do not love God, then family, then self, then church. We love God, family, self, and church all at the same time. We don't love God 100% and our spouse 90% and our children 80% and our church 70%. God requires that we love all of them all the time. That requires balance. It's unwise to give all our time to work and family, but none to personal health. God created us to need each other in relationships, but the time devoted must be balanced. For if we give too much in one area, we neglect our duty in another important area, and we fail God's requirement for balanced living. What we do well, but we do not do it all. So, where do we begin? Number one, say no. Don't try to do everything. 2, learn grace. God and your family will still love you even when you can't do everything, even when it's undeserved. That's when their love will come through. And number 3, keep God at the center of all things. Only then will you find balance, and you will simplify. During our Simplify messages, my desire is to give you one simple step to work on each week. Today, it's just a question. Ask this every day, and maybe in different settings. Ask this question: where is Jesus? If everything in your life is falling apart, Jesus most likely isn't at the center. But when you put him at the center, watch him pull it all back together. The bottom line is, Jesus Christ wants to be the center of your life. You can start over. You can have a new beginning. This can be the time that you get your personal life in balance. Our biblical blessing is a blessing for the church from 2 Thessalonians. May our Lord Jesus Christ himself and God our Father, who loved us and by his grace gave us eternal encouragement and good hope, encourage your hearts and strengthen you in every good deed and word.
Standing here in your presence, in a grace so relentless, I am won by perfect love, wrapped within the arms of heaven, in a peace that lasts forever, sinking deep in mercy. See, I'm wide awake, drawing close, stirred by grace, and all my heart is yours. All fear removed, I breathe you in, I lean into your love. Oh, your love. When I'm lost, you pursue me. Lift my head to see your glory, Lord of all. So beautiful. Here in you I find shelter, captivated by the splendor of your face. My secret place, I'm wide awake, drawing close, stirred by grace, and all my heart is yours. All fear removed, I breathe